and this faith journey has produced is peace and joy. And so, God, we enter your gates today with thanksgiving. We are thanking you that we are growing up in faith. We are thanking you that we are becoming and beholding and becoming change for the time we have spent in your presence. Hi, good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. Welcome to today's broadcast. Welcome to today's edition of Midday Manna. I am your host, Leonore Reynolds-Jones, and I have the awesome privilege of being the proprietress of a wonderful kingdom enterprise called LegacyBuilders.com. To know more, I ask that you scroll your fingers across the keyboard and you're like, what am I going to type in? I'm so glad you asked. You want to type this in www.legacybuilders.com. And as you can see, our Legacy Builders has a Z. LegacyBuilders.com. You go there. You can even, right now, it's still up. It will be coming down tomorrow. No, on Friday. It comes down tomorrow. The opt-in for the May Declarations Challenge, that will come on Friday, because on Friday we will be 2/3 of the way, and unfortunately I think that's too far for you to catch up. So I'm gonna take that opt-in page away, but you can join the challenge. You can do the challenge at any time. I think May is the best month to do it because May is a declaratory month. But like, if you caught it and you're like, look, I got 30 days starting May 28th, then start. You want to start in September, start. Wherever you start is good for you. Again, I just believe that May is the month, so I do the challenge in the month of May. With that being said, I also want to thank you for joining me. I want to invite you to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you want to be able to just backlog and go and get notifications. I've been doing this a while. Somebody recently told me that they binged watch all my content. And so I just want you to know that there's tons of content. So if this is your first time, feel free to go over to the YouTube channel and backlog, because there's tons of good stuff over there. Outside of that, you can like this broadcast. You can share this broadcast with someone who you feel will be blessed by something I say, or someone who has a question or who is looking for some guidance. We are here to help you build a lasting legacy, and we know that that means we are also helping you build a relationship with Jesus. So that is enough about us. Now, if you can see the topic today, you can see that I am giving you a sneak peek, an update on our May Declarations Challenge, which I just mentioned. And today happens to be day 17, right? It started on the 1st and it goes all the way through until May 30th. And then we give you the 31st for reflection, and as many days after that as you need to kind of just walk out what you've spoken, in these coming days and weeks. So what I'm going to do for today is I'm going to do something that I didn't do any of the other days. The other days that we did the declaration, I, went through the page and, gave you the information that was on the page in front of you. But what I didn't do was I never read a blurb for you. So each declaration has an introduction, as it will, into the mindset that we want you to cultivate as you go through the declaration. And so today is the last day. So today is day 3 of the 5th declaration. And so instead of, just going through the page, I wanted to give you an added bonus today and read for you the mindset. So our 5th declaration, because remember, we've gone through, it's 10 declarations. You focus on a single declaration for 3 days, and you build and you build and you build until you're saying them all. But the one that we're focusing on these 3 days is, may the Lord, the God of my ancestors, increase me 1,000 times and bless me as he has promised. And so I'm going to again read the blurb that goes with it. It says, true story. On the day I wrote this, I read an article about someone who had gotten out of debt and raised his credit score to the mid 700s. The interesting thing is that the first thing the article told the readers to do was to forget God. They went on to say that God was not going to get you out of your situation. I was offended, both for myself and, if possible, on behalf of God. My God has done too much for me to believe that I have to abandon him in pursuit of financial gain, security, and legacy. Instead, I believe that these things are found in partnership with God. And as you answer the questions over the next 3 days, be sure to include how you can partner with God for each answer. So again, the declaration is, may the Lord, the God of my ancestors, increase me 1,000 times and bless me as he has promised. Now, if I'm 100% transparent with you guys, right? Because I don't know who's going to see this, who's going to watch the replay crew, put hashtag replay in the comments as you're watching it. But to be completely vulnerable and transparent with you guys, today is not the day that I would have read that declaration. In my own life currently, God has been absolutely amazing. However, I am presently walking through, let's call it a faith test. What God calls it for me is a May test, where it's really cool to like write all this stuff and, say really nice platitudes and say like you're thankful to God for this and for that. But how many of you know that like there are difficult times that we experience and you have to choose to believe God despite evidence to the contrary, i.e., walk by faith and not by sight. And so today, if there is a declaration that I didn't want to say, it would have been this. But when I asked God, first of all, today is the day I asked God, do you still want me to do this? Do you still want me to go live and talk to these people? And if the answer to that question is yes, you're going to have to tell me what you want me to talk about, because I don't even feel like I know what to talk about today. Honest to goodness, this is my conversation with God. And his response was, well, it's day 17, do the May Declarations Challenge. And I'm like, really? Really, God? All right. So guys, I came, I prepared, again, there's a whole system setup that has to happen before I go live. I go live, and guys, I go to the page, I find it, I get all the stuff ready, prepped to go live. And at no point did I read the actual declaration, right? Because I was going to go through the process. And then literally, as I am literally 3 minutes ago, when I focused in on what the page had said, at that point, it's, locating the appropriate declaration, getting to the right page. I had prepped all of that, but never really paid attention to what the page said. So it's literally 3 minutes ago that I'm realizing God is having me recite a declaration that feels presently contrary to my experience. And again, it's contrary to my experience, even as I can admit, confess, and declare the goodness of God, right? Because remember, we started all the way back in the beginning about me. I see the goodness of God in this season and remain confident in him. And so I can confess to you and tell you all the ways that God has been good. In fact, I spend so much time when I do pray, and it's not that I don't pray, but I don't pray as much as I used to, if I'm honest. But when I spend time in prayer, I spend so much time in gratitude because I see like the amount of things God has done for me. My life is absolutely amazing. God has been really, really good to me. And I want y'all to hear me. And today I'm actually quite frustrated with God, with what I'm hearing from him, what I don't see, and particularly as it relates to like some specific areas of my life. One of them being like this goodness, this increase me 1,000 times as he has promised, right? Because I have a promise, and yes, there are promises he has fulfilled, and there are promises that he hasn't. And so I'm sitting in the juxtaposition, in the place between, okay, and I often joke and say this, and this is what I tell God, that I am someplace between the gift will make room for me, and God will supply all my needs according to his riches and glory. Like I'm someplace in between there. And I can give you another one. I say sometimes I'm in between write the vision and make it plain and seek first the kingdom. You pick it, but it is entirely possible to be stuck between two equally important and contrary things. I am between absolute gratitude for my life, for my God, for who he is, for the relationship what I have for him, for the gifts he has given me, for my family, for my children, for my husband. I see the goodness of God all over my life. That has not changed. It will not change. And I am also very frustrated with God right now, in particular in key areas in my life. And I think that's what I needed to come on and tell somebody about, because so often we portray Christianity or even like a faith walk or even life with God as this perfect, where it's always, the wellspring of joy that we talk about. And it is entirely possible to have joy and sorrow, to be grateful and frustrated, to be walking in purpose and still absolutely unsure about what your next step is. God is not an either or, it can be both and. And today I'm in a both and place. And so I come and in obedience, I open this book and he has me declaring, may I see the goodness of the Lord in this season. No, I'm sorry. May the Lord, the God of my ancestors, increase me 1,000 times and bless me as he has promised. And a point of frustration for me right now is that I don't see the blessing that he has promised. I feel like I've been obedient. I've done all the things you said, and it's still not there. Right? What do you do when you're like, God, I did what you said. I did it when I think you said you meant for me to do it, and it looks nothing like what you said it would. What do? Right? You're still obedient. That's what you do. Because faith never promised you that it was going to look any particular way. In fact, faith promises that it's going to look the opposite and contrary of what you want it to. And so faith is faith because it requires you to trust in what you cannot see. Pastor Dix, I can't remember his first name, he wrote the book Holy Hardship, but he posted on Instagram last week, and his post was, when you can't trust what God told you, trust the God who told you. And I don't know who needs to hear that, but somebody who's watching right now, you feel like you can't trust what God told you. Like you don't see how this works. It doesn't make any sense. You've been waiting for a long time. You have seen absolute progress in certain areas. And then in other areas, like you are right back where you started. Again, guys, I told you guys that like God literally, as I was coming into the end of April, beginning of May, God showed me that I was about to walk into a cycle. In the last 2 days, he showed me that the cycle is longer than I thought. He showed me, I thought it was just 1 year. He showed me, no, It is 3 years in that every time around this year, I get into a certain period, I get into a certain place and a certain mindset, and I look for specific things from God. And honestly, if I'm honest and transparent to a certain extent, I feel like I give God ultimatums in this particular season, because this one area, it just has yet to align with what I believe God promised. And every year around this time, I literally, last year, I went totally rogue and did whatever I wanted to do, and then ended up having to walk away from all of that I had done. And this year, I'm like, okay, I saw it, but then not what he showed me literally yesterday or yesterday, what he showed me yesterday was it wasn't just last year. The year before I ended up, and the year before I chose to trust God. The year before I was like, God, I don't know how this works, but I'm gonna put all my eggs in your basket. And it worked. Then last year, I got here and I was like, God, I don't know how this works, but I need to fix this. And you don't seem to care. I'm so honest with y'all right now. And you don't seem to care. So I'm going to do this. And I went out and I did it. And it worked out, guys. The thing that I did, it worked out initially. But here's the thing. And oh my gosh, I probably am gonna have to tell y'all about the test that God is taking me through. But I think I have to go through the test and pass it and then tell you about it after the fact. I don't think it's something, but right now it's an obedience test that I'm going through. And so I did the thing. I went and I worked when he said rest. And you know what? At the end of it all, I had nothing to show for it. How many of you are in an obedience test and God told you to rest and you're working? I just want you to know, hear my testimony. When you work, when God tells you to rest, you will have nothing to show for it. And I have Bible for that. He hasn't given me release to give the whole thing, but I can give you that part. Anyway, and so I'm pushing. Okay, Jordan, you said give you the study guide when the test is over. Definitely, this is the comment. She's like, give us the study guide when the test is over. But guys, so I'm like, all right, Jesus, and so he shows me how I'm walking in this cycle. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do what I did the last time. And instead of going out here and trying to help God, because God doesn't need your help, instead of going out here and trying to figure out like the best way within my own abilities, I'm gonna not do anything. Instead, I'm going to sit before God and I am going to ask questions over and over and over, because like the Bible says, keep asking, keep knocking, keep. And so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna keep doing that. Y'all, do you know that God is giving answers, but he's not answering the question that I really want him to? And that is my point of frustration. I'm like, all right, God, so you brought me here. You showed me that I'm in a test. You showed me the cycle, the circle that I'm walking around this situation. And if you haven't read my book, shameless plug, that there's a difference between a cycle and a circle. I don't have time to unpack that. I know for a fact that I did a midday manna about it maybe a year, maybe 2 years ago. I'm gonna try and go plumb the YouTube channel and see if I can find it. But if I didn't do a live, I know it is an entry in my book. My book is called, the book I'm referring to, because I have like several now, which is Nothing But Jesus. But the book is called Knowing God as El Shaddai. And in that book in particular, around either day 4 or day 10, there's an entry called cycle versus circle. And it helps you know the difference. And so God was letting me know that I am in a cycle right now, right? And I can either, walk around it with success, or walk around it and get and right back up. Because who knows that the children of Israel walked in cycles. They walked around and around and around the promised land for 40 years. We ain't even gonna unpack that. So I'm in this cycle, just walking around, and God is like, I want you to see what you're doing, and I want you to do something differently. So I chose to do something differently, and I'm still not getting the answer I want from God, right? Y'all, tell me if you're tracking with me. I'm still not getting the answer I want from God. And so I grudgingly, and I tell y'all, I came and I was like, you still want me? So, and at this point, I'm asking him questions about everything. So, do you still want me to do midday manna? Even though I got the most amazing and beautiful feedback from someone I love dearly about midday manna. Even with that beautiful feedback, because of my frustration, I'm like, God, do you even still want me to do this? He's like, yes, do the day for the May declarations. Now he has me doing the declaration for something that I'm frustrated about. Y'all, I need y'all to peep how God, like, he has me doing a declaration and walking in obedience about something I'm frustrated about. And in my case, I'm walking it in public because I'm live telling y'all that, like, yes, I'm going to smile. Smiling is my default facial setup. Like, I'm going to smile. But you guys know, generally, I have a little more verve, a little more pep. I don't have that today because I'm honestly, again, caught in between these two places. Absolute gratitude and absolute frustration with the same God. And so he's like, and so he goes, do the midday declaration, the May declarations challenge. It's day 17. Day 17 is like, now that I've told you about the declaration, which I don't even want to speak on presently, then it's like on the page, he's like, now go through it. So what are you grateful for? And I'm like, oh, so you setting me up? Okay. So I need you guys to understand that faith sometimes looks like doing what you don't want to do when you don't want to do it. Yeah. Faith sometimes looks like doing what you don't want to do when you don't want to do it. And I say that because, like, I think there are so many things that we have the wrong perception and perspective of. And so I'm going to submit to you that despite my feelings, I get the privilege of coming before you today. And I get the privilege of doing this, which I presently, I'm me and God. I am frustrated. I know God ain't frustrated with me. He knows I'd be here, and so I am feeling frustrated towards God, but he's not frustrated with me. And so I don't necessarily feel like I wanted to go live and process this. And he was like, well, are you going to obey me? Because again, my test is an obedience test. So am I going to let my feelings stop me from walking in obedience? The answer to that question presently is no, because I'm here, right? And who's watching, who God has told you something and you're like, but I don't feel like it, God, or I don't have, like right now, like when I literally looked at my face on camera before I pressed the live button. I was like, you're going to find some smiles, some something. My face looked miserable, guys. And I'm just like, God, you want me to go on there looking like this? He's like, yeah, because that's what you look like. And that's what your journey looks like today. And one of the things I want you to mirror is authentic Christianity, authentic journey, what it really looks like to walk with God. Every day is not a smiley day. Every day is not happy, joy, sunshine, gumdrops and sprinkles. It's not. Some days are really, really hard. And some days it's like, again, you're stuck between, God, you've done so much for me, but God, I'm so frustrated with you. And so he's like, go through the gratitude part. And today is the day I would circle the straight line, because like I'm not feeling joyful. That's how I feel. God, this is how I feel. And he's like, go live anyway. And then say this declaration, right? May the Lord, the God of my ancestors, increase me 1,000 times and bless me as he has promised. And I'm like, all right, God, fine. You got me saying stuff. Fine. I'm going to declare it because it's going to be true. It's your word, and your word will not return to you void. And I do want that in my life. So I'm going to say it even though I don't see it, even though I don't feel like it's happening in the timetable I'm going to say it anyway. And then the question, right? The question, because it always starts with a question. It says, are you ready for the promised increase? That is the question today, right? Because the declaration is, may the Lord, the God of my ancestors, increase me 1,000 times and bless me as he has promised. And the question is like, but are you ready for this promised increase? I'm like, Jesus, why are you playing me? Y'all ever felt like God plays you? Let's be real. In the comments, tell me, do you feel like Jesus plays you sometimes? If you feel like Jesus plays you, just put your finger up like this. You know, the church finger where you tiptoe out, like, not real. You don't have to put all your hands up. Just if you feel like Jesus plays you sometimes. My cousin says every day. She's like, every day. Like, if you feel like he plays you, yeah, I'm telling y'all, I'm being so honest and transparent with you. Like, I was like, so you playing me? I'm frustrated that I don't see the progress I want to see, and you're like, go live anyway. And then you're going to put me on blast and have me talking about something that I'm presently frustrated you about. And then the question that you had me write, that you're asking me to answer in front of all these people is, do I think I'm ready for the promise? What? He's playing me. He's playing me. I just need y'all to see that. So I need you to know that you're not alone. That he like the Bible says, God is not a respecter of persons. Here you go. Right? Here you go. Live on, these social media streets. That I'm like, really? So do I feel like I'm ready? The answer to the question, though, I can honestly say, I do think I'm ready. And I can say I'm ready now because of my responses to where I am. So I think God got me ready in the last 2 weeks. Like, looking back on where I was before I walked into it, it wasn't that my mindset was wrong. I had the right mindset. He has done amazing work on my mindset. It's none of those things. But I don't think I was as ready as I thought I was, and as ready as I know I am today. And I'm ready today, not because of me, but because I know today that if it happens, he's going to have to do it. That's why I'm ready. I'm ready because I'm ready to be obedient. And I'm ready that if he does it today, he's going to take care of it. He's going to manage it. I'm ready because I am in the place where at this point, I have expended all my own efforts. So any success on my part is 100% him. I have depleted me, and that's why I'm ready. So am I ready for the promise? Yes. Because it's going to be God or it's going to be God. And I hope that resonates with one of you today, that like when he plays you, when you feel like you have come to the end of yourself, to the end of your resources. Like, y'all, I had a whole conversation with my husband telling him how frustrated I am and how I'm just tired and how I don't want to do nothing else because like I just feel like I've been doing it and it's not working, and do this and do that. And I'm just tired. I'm not doing nothing else. If anything happens, God's going to do it. That's legit what I told my husband. And he's like, okay, now you're ready. So I don't know who needed to hear this, who needed to get to this place where I want y'all to know, hear what Holy Spirit just whispered to me. He was like, that's where Jesus was just before he saved the world. I'll explain in case you don't understand what I'm saying. Think about Garden of Gethsemane. Jesus saw all of it. The entire weight of the world is on him. And he's like, look, God, if you want to, feel free to take this cup from me. This is my paraphrase. He's like, you don't have to do this. Like, if you want me to do it, I'm going to do it. But like, you could go ahead and just take it because this is a lot. And it was his acceptance of, well, you ain't took it, so I guess I'm going to have to deal with it. It was his acceptance of that led him to the cross. And him on the cross saved all of us. And so I don't know who needs to hear this, but those of you who are watching with me live now, if you are at the end of your rope, you are at your wit's end. If you are like, it's going to be God or it's going to be God, go on ahead and pick up your cross and follow him. Even if the cross is the thing you're frustrated about. Even if the cross is the thing that you are so tired of praying about. Even if the cross contradicts what you feel like he promised you. Just go ahead and let him do it. Let him do it, guys. I don't have a bigger, hey, I don't have brighter news. I don't have a different introduction. I just have this face, this revelation, because that's my present reality right now, that I'm just like, it's going to be God or it's going to be God, because it's not going to be me. I hope this, and again, I told you guys I would go ahead and once he gives me leave, I will share, and I don't even know, I believe the test will be over in May. I believe it's a May test for me. So hopefully in June or July, I'll be able to come back and fill you guys in and catch you guys up on all that had happened. Y'all legit, I was all ready last week to tell y'all everything. And when I tell you 5 minutes before I went live, the power company came and was like, yeah, we have a work order for your house. Do you have power? We're like, yeah, what you mean? They're like, yeah, we're not getting any readings. Your meter is not communicating with the power company. Come in, they find all kinds of things wrong. We had the wrong meter. All this stuff went down. And what was supposed to be, and again, when they met us, when they came and knocked on my door, I had power. But in order to repair all that they found that was wrong, that had caused the problem, they had to shut off my power for 30 minutes. That means the entire time that I would have been live, we had no power. And I was like, oh, so I'm not supposed to say that yet? Okay. And so I am believing that this is what I can tell you. What I've told you today is what I can tell you. And I think anything else would be cheating on my test. So I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to rest when he says rest. I'm going to work when he says work. And when he gives me release to speak the rest, I will do that. But I just want you to know that wherever you are, wherever you sit today, if you have come to the end of yourself, that means you are ready, because it's going to be God or it's going to be God. Now, I'm going to tell you, like I always tell you at the end of these broadcasts, I pray that the latter half of your day, and this is my earnest prayer for myself today, that the latter half of my day is better than the beginning. It's greater than the beginning. It's greater than the former thing. your former experiences, that the latter half of this test, that the answers that I received, that it is night and day from my previous experience leading up to this point. I pray that you just have an amazing rest of your day, amazing rest of the week, and an even more amazing rest of the year. And I thank you so much for joining me for today's edition of Midday Manna. Bye-bye. And this faith journey has produced is peace and joy. And so, God, we enter your gates today with thanksgiving. We are thanking you that we are growing up in faith. We are thanking you that we are becoming and beholding and becoming change for the time we have spent in your presence.